BS Busters. Or we should be. Yes, we are live with another episode of BS Busters, joined by the usual suspects of Jewel. Go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the BS Busters podcast for St. Patrick's Day 2021.
Really?
I'm Joe Moonstar. Yeah, it is St. Patrick's Day as far as if I got it right, since it's the 17th.
I haven't celebrated St. Patrick's Day since I was in private school, and that was, Jesus. That was, I graduated when I was 18. I'm 35 now. 10.
Near the 2000s.
I'm calculating the exact. That is, uh, 17 years ago.
Dang.
I don't even celebrate St. Patrick's Day now that I'm an adult and could drink and stuff like that. I just never gave a shit. I was like, yeah, St.
I was about
Patrick's
to
Day.
say, I thought somebody would celebrate Mardi Gras at least.
Well, it's just it's just an excuse to get drunk.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't like getting drunk. I mean, like when I do drink, I like to get a little bit tipsy, by mixing a cocktail, and then I'll nurse that same cocktail for like an hour, and then I'll refresh it and drink something else. And if you're someone who likes to party and drink, but you don't want to get fucked up, never drink on an empty stomach. Always have like some type of appetizer to go with your some type of food to go with your alcohol, and that'll keep you from getting fucked up. For example, drink something. Like if you're drinking cocktails, drink. Have something to go along with it, like nachos or wings, or something that you can, if you're mid-brow. If you're low-brow, like, drinking at home and you don't want to get fucked up, but just pleasantly buzzed, Hot Pockets, Tostino's pizza rolls.
Those certainly will help.
Because believe me, you do not want to be, you don't want to wake up the next day like, oh God, I puked on myself.
You don't want to be praying to the porcelain gods next morning, right?
No. Kenoshi, introduce yourself.
And as I was gonna, okay, never mind.
This is Kenoshi Abominito. I just got my stimulus check, but not like everybody else. I'm not gonna throw it away on whatever.
Okay. Well, this is Mr. Red Fox, and since people are sharing, I didn't get a stimulus check because even though I lost like 66% of my income, it still was above the threshold for a single person, so I didn't get shit. I didn't get a damn thing. Oh, fuck me. So with that being said,
Oh, bummer. I think we could get into some news, and I could start with Activision.
Okay. Go ahead.
You had to lay off some people and trying to low key it again.
Well,
brother.
Didn't
you guys learn from 2019?
Before everyone gets their pitchfork and gets their pitchfork and tiki torches, and gets ready to have to go after Activision, they laid off.
I was saying that they're doing it again, and they're trying to keep it low key.
Well,
have they learned anything?
They laid off a few people, and the people that got laid off were the people who were in charge of their live events for their game tournaments, which actually makes sense when you consider that no one is having live gaming events because of COVID-19. Um, like, I'm not saying it's right, but I mean, if you're business, you don't want to have people just. I mean, look, would it have been better for Activision to just repurpose those people into the company to do something else? Yeah, but I mean, this is Activision Blizzard. What the fuck do they care about repurposing, uh, you know, people for something else when they can just, um, fire their asses and take that money and do something else with it, which is what they did. So, I mean, that's business. I don't think it's as nefarious as what people think. Um,
I was just thinking that here we go again. Hopefully, it's not as severe. Hopefully.
well, like I said, the people who were fired were the people who were in their division for, like their live events, like their Hearthstone, like tournament people, and their StarCraft and Warcraft tournament people, that type of shit. And the thing is like no one, like all these things are moving online, so you don't need people in charge of live events like that. And I don't like the way things are now. I don't think those things are ever going to come back to the way they were. So, I mean, I know it sucks for those people who lost their jobs, but I mean that's the breaks.
I know that layoffs happen. I'm just hoping that's not for something stupid again.
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I mean,
So, if anything, you are right about about the in-person stuff. I'm just saying that with things to recover and more people are being able to get vaccinated and stuff,
yeah, but even then,
I see that this might be able to come back, but
yeah, but
I'm not sure by how much.
like here's the thing. Even then, it's like movie theaters, right? Like even like I'm scheduled to get my Johnson & Johnson vaccine like a week and a half from now. And even then,
Mhm.
even once I get my vaccine, I'm not going to a movie theater. Like, do you honestly think I'm not going? I'm not gonna wait to see. I'm gonna watch Godzilla and Mortal Kombat from my home, from my television, or from my PC, streaming it on HBO Max. I'm not going to a fucking movie theater. Why? um, so I mean, like the thing is like a lot of things have irrevocably changed. I think that movie theaters are going to go the way of live comedy, where it's like of not like of going to the theater, where back in the day before movie theaters, like a lot of people went to vaudeville acts, and those were and stuff like in comedy routines and dance reviews, and those were in like physical venues like theaters. And then movies came out, and the theaters had to struggle and eventually went out. A lot of them were converted into movie theaters. So I mean, just this is the way things are growing. Like movie theaters will still exist. They're not going to be like they used to. You're basically going to see movie theaters are going to be like going to see live music or a comedy show or something like that, where it's like an event type thing once in a while. Because people are just going to be like, if I can stream it, why the fuck would I from home? And I can't blame them because
Yeah, I at least was saying that I'm not raising a pitchfork or anything. I'm just saying that hopefully it's not for something big or that hire just again. They're going to be hiring more jobs again just after they laid off people.
I mean, normally I would agree with you, but this is Activision Blizzard, run by Bobby Kotick, who is a piece of shit human being, so probably not.
Yeah.
They're
Thank you
very
for
few.
reminding me of the scum that's in the system.
So I don't. I'm not holding out much hope. Kenoshi, you have any thoughts about the situation? Oh wait, he bounced. He'll be back. Okay,
Oh
so
boy,
we'll hold that on the back burner
that
for
was
him.
a little odd. All right.
So I guess we can keep on moving. A little bit of video game news to chill out with while we're still available. Octopath Traveler is no longer Nintendo Switch console exclusive. It's coming to Xbox. To me, Octopath Traveler was my game of the year for the year it came out. I liked it better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Which is saying something.
No, not really. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 isn't as good as X or the first game. It's good, but it's not like the first Xenoblade.
It's not moving, right?
The first Xenoblade Chronicles is a technical marvel because of what they were able to do on the Wii. To have like a simulated open world on the Wii and all that stuff going on. It's also in its own right a very solid JRPG, which just proves that there was nothing preventing solid, high quality, AAA level JRPGs being on the Switch aside from the will of the publishers and developers putting those games on the system. And then there's Xenoblade Chronicles X, which to me is a very good game. Like, I really do like Xenoblade Chronicles X. The story is its weakest point because really there is no real story for your main character, but it kind of makes sense if you play through the game. There's some technical issues with that game that kind of make it not as useful for me. For example, the what's it called? The low level cap.
Species. I was about to say, I thought it was cheese, but the level cap?
The level cap in that game is level 60. That's the highest you can level up. So basically, in order for you to power up your character, it's pretty much built around you. Like once you reach the level cap, it's all about the equipment you have on your character. And like the parts and shit like that versus you just leveling up and being more powerful than everything else around you. So that's kind of a flaw with that game is that the level cap is only level 60 and how expensive it is to repair your mechs. I mean, there's a lot of really good ideas in that game, but the mech concept kind of falls apart. But yeah, Octopath.
Like it does in Dark Cloud 2?
Yeah, but in Dark Cloud 2, when your mech falls apart, like when your mech is damaged beyond repair, it's like relatively easy to fix it. The mechs in some of the higher tier dolls in Xenoblade Chronicles X, once they break, you're spending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million to repair them, which is just bullshit. I know what they were going for, but that is some straight up bullshit. Because there's some enemies that it's really in your best interest to face those enemies with a mech versus being outside of. Although I've seen builds, especially from Shadow Fox, where I've seen builds of Shadow Fox where he's basically taken on those same bosses on foot. So yeah. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the way the game is built for conventional gameplay. The developers are like, okay, these are enemies that you have to fight using your mechs. These are enemies that you have to fight on foot. And there's some play between the two, but there's some enemies where you're highly encouraged to use your mechs versus fighting on foot. There's some personally, I would love to see Monolith Soft make a sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles X. You can keep the whole mechs when they break. They have to be repaired and have there be a timer on it. And like as you upgrade your facilities at your base, that timer goes down. Maybe you can have a character who can be a mechanic, and that could be a job class. Maybe they suck at fighting, but they can repair shit like in the field, or at least jury rig it enough so that you can get it back to a base or something. Like anything like that.
So you have to go all the way back to the field. Or all the way back to the place to fix your mech?
Yeah. And Xenoblade
Oh,
Chronicles
cool.
X, that's the only way you can, like, if your mech is severely damaged, that's the only way you can repair it. Is you, like, it gets picked up. Like, you have insurance for 3 hits, where it can take,
Yeah.
like, for 3 times, and then after those 3 times, it's destroyed. You just have to buy a new one,
Oh,
and it's prohibitively expensive.
wow, that's crazy.
And I mean, like, I get what they were going for. That's just really shitty. In my opinion, that's shitty.
Game
That's just
design?
that's just it's not great game design. It's not the worst. It's not like, oh my god, this is fucking terrible. It's just like, wow, this game, like, the rest of the game, the missions, because there isn't a conventional story structure in the game. In order for you to get the story in Xenoblade Chronicles X, you have to do the side missions. That's how you find out more about what's going on. That's how you discover more about the overall story. So it's very unconventional style storytelling. But I mean, if you're willing to do the side missions, the people are like, man, there was no story in this game. I'm like, yeah, there was. There was totally a story in Xenoblade Chronicles X. You just didn't do, like, if you blaze through the main story of the game, you're not going to understand everything that's going on. If you do the side missions, it's a lot more interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and that's where it's gonna segue into Octopath Traveler, because I've been seeing people saying, well, the story of this game sucked. It's like, yeah, because you probably, like, the people who say that Octopath Traveler didn't have a story, I'm like, you didn't play through that entire game, because if you do all the side missions and you listen to the dialogue, read the dialogue and shit, there's totally interconnecting narrative between all those characters. And there's like,
I question the connectivity, but I will agree there is a story
oh no,
behind them.
there's interconnectivity. Basically, the internet connectivity between all the characters is this. Essentially speaking, each of the characters in the game is like, where they come from is one of the regions of one of the 8 gods. And essentially speaking, these 8 gods fought this ninth god who went crazy. Well, actually, there's more than that. There's like 13 of them, but like 8 of them banded together to fight this one god who went crazy and tried to devour all the other gods and take over all of creation. And they kicked his ass and locked him away behind this magic mystic gate. And essentially speaking, a part of this god escaped and turned into a young lady who has essentially been manipulating events all throughout these different regions in order to cause the rebirth of this mad god. Every single fucked up thing that happens to all these characters is because of this one lady, either directly or indirectly. That is the connecting thing that's going on in the game. That character that you meet early on, if you start as Alberic, the knight character, who, like, you walk outside your village and he's all like, yeah, I need to find this thing, and eventually by the end of the game he basically opens up the gate and goes inside. He is the son of the guy who was mutated into the Red Eyes beast. Like, there's an interconnected story, but you have to play through all these stories and go do the side stories. Once you do that, it comes together. Now, is it as straightforward as something like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy IV? No, but
Not
Final
not
Fantasy
that
is
degree, but I
no.
could agree there.
But there is an interconnected story going on. So when people
Yeah,
tell me, "Oh,
yeah.
there's no story, none of these characters' stories are connected," I'm like, "Were you just blazing through the game?" Because it sounds like you were just blazing through the game and not really
That's
uh,
the thing.
paying
I
attention.
I believe there is a connection to them. It's just that I don't feel that it's a strong connection,
No, it is
other than
not.
some big plot points.
No. That's the flaw of Octopath Traveler, is that like Xenoblade Chronicles X, the story is very like, in order for you to get the full story, you have to do side quests and read books and talk to people. and a little bit of inference from the information available to you. But once you do that, the game makes a lot of sense. So for me, I really enjoy it.
That's what I was feeling. That it does. That the story is connected. It's just that you have to that you either have to look for it or it's very shallow.
Yeah.
It's one of those two.
So for me, well, the story isn't shallow. It's just the connection between the different characters is not.
That's what I was thinking.
Is not immediately apparent. It's not immediately apparent. You have to do.
Yeah, that's
you have
what
to
I was
work
thinking.
for
That
it.
the connection between all the characters are shallow. That you have to dig for some of that.
Well, phonetically, grammatically speaking, shallow and digging for it are two completely different. They're antonyms of one another, which is why I'm trying not. I'm not saying that it's shallow, because you don't have to dig hard for a shallow storyline. It's shallow. It's like, well, it's right there. It's not very deep. But anyway, so yeah, Octopath Traveler no longer a Switch exclusive, PC exclusive. It's coming to Xbox. It already came to PC. I will be honest with you, the PC version is a great version to have this game because then you can get a trainer and cheat your ass off. Now, I have the game on Switch where I didn't cheat and I beat the game and 100%ed it. So, but I also have it on PC where I downloaded a trainer and cheated my ass off. And it's a good game. I love this game. I think Octopath Traveler. I would have loved to have seen a direct sequel to this game, but instead they took the engine and they're making Project Tripod Dick. Project Salt Iron Triangle. Whatever it's called.
I was trying not to laugh when you said that.
Look, the game will probably be awesome, but that name. That name, that name is something else.
Up there for a placeholder, they probably need to be held for their paycheck for a while.
They need the game could have the whole salt and sugar thing, or salt and spice.
Salt iron, Project Triangle, salt iron, something like that. Triangle, salt iron triangle.
I know they're fighting over salt or spice or whatever, but. They could have a part.
They're fighting over salt and metal.
They could have more. You know how in Dune how the spice material that gives it's called spice. It gives special abilities. They could have that sort of.
I mean, I know what they're going for. They're essentially trying to do this grand strategy game, or at least the setting where there's other cool shit going on. I understand that. My problem with the title is just that title is like it comes across as pretentious because
it's so on the nose it hurts.
Well, we all know at the end. We all know that when this game comes out, even though the setting might be about salt and iron, and these countries having this détente between the three of them. At the end of the day, it's just going to boil down to probably an awesome kick-ass strategy game. Like, it's really like from the trailer, it looks like this game's scratching a lot of those Final Fantasy Tactics.
I'm definitely not counting it out since it's the only company. It's the only place in Square Enix that knows how to make a freaking JRPG.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're the only people who know how to make JRPGs because the rest of Square Enix, they can't do it. They don't know how to make JRPGs anymore. I mean, did you ever think? I've been on this earth for 35 years, and from the age of when I first played Final Fantasy II on the SNES, because I played Final Fantasy II first, and then I went back and I played Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3 through the magic of emulation. Final Fantasy 1 not through emulation. Final Fantasy 2 and 3 through the magic of emulation. And that's how I got into those games. But I've known Squaresoft as, wow, these are the RPG princes of video games. JRPG princes. I would say the king is Enix with Dragon Quest, just because Dragon Quest is a little bit more traditional. But, between the two of them, they would trade the crown back and forth. Apparently Square Enix doesn't know how to make JRPGs anymore. It's the Square part of it. By and large, they do not know how to make RPGs anymore. They can't do it. It's like going to a Chinese food restaurant where the chef doesn't know how to make Chinese food anymore. You're like, what the fuck is this shit? We don't know how to use a wok. How do you not know how to use a wok? Is fundamental to Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean food. How could you not know how to use a wok? I don't know how to use a wok no more. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? How do you not know how to do this? I don't know. I don't know how anymore. It's like, god damn.
That is kind of embarrassing to hear.
So I have a quick question. What is a wok exactly? Because I keep thinking of a giant iron pan.
It's a giant.
Well, it's a pan that's usually seasoned and is quite a deep pan, really.
Yeah, it's wide. It's a wide depth draft pan. Normally has where the sides are kind of wide and all the heat is concentrated on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So it's really good for stir frying if you have an eye that can handle the heat that you need in order to stir fry. But if you can, you'll eventually you can because stir frying is all about application of high heat and basically you using that high heat in order to cook something really quickly and really efficiently by tossing it and turning it and moving it around. And the way it's shaped really enables you to do that properly. The problem is that most oven stovetops that you can get commercially suck at cooking with a wok because it's just like the eye, whether you have gas or electric, is just not going to get hot enough to really get a wok as hot as it needs to be in order for you to use it properly. If you go really old school, like Jules said, a lot of them are seasoned, like cast iron style. But, I mean, you can get, now with modern technology, you can get ceramic woks that are, like, you don't have to season. There's woks that have a Teflon style coating to them. It's not Teflon, but it's kind of like Teflon. Basically, yeah, woks are great if you're stir frying. Like I would say, like if you have an oven range that can handle it, woks are great for stir frying. If you have a grill where it's set up in such a way that it can get hot enough, it's great to use a wok like on a grill that can get hot enough. Great for that. If you have an oven range in your home that can't get hot enough, you can use a large frying pan. It's not the same, but it'll get close enough for you. But yeah, Octopath Traveler is no longer a Switch console exclusive. I'm happy. Like some people are like, it's no longer an exclusive. I'm like, Octopath Traveler is such a good JRPG, I think other people should play it. It's basically like a better Bravely Default. That's what Octopath Traveler is. It's a better Bravely Default with better graphics. Because the graphics of Bravely Default are shit. The new one and the old one. And Bravely Default the second on the 3DS, the sequel to the first one.
Yeah.
The graphic styles of those games are terrible. I'm sorry, they are really bad.
Yeah, they've created an engine that would suit well if they ever decided to remake any of the Final Fantasies with that engine. I really like what they do with the art style of.
Well, they did.
Traveler.
They did. Well, yeah. I would love for them to remake the 16-bit Final Fantasies using Octopath Traveler's 2.5D engine. Or just from now, just have that studio make games like this. 2.5D JRPGs using this engine. I would buy all of them because I think this is a great engine to bring back that old school feel of JRPGs that are missing from modern JRPGs. And it's not just the aesthetic. It's like the ability going from town to town to town, exploring, fighting new enemies, discovering new hooks on enemies in new areas because the area has changed. I love that shit. I fucking hate modern Square Enix, especially the Square style JRPGs. Final Fantasy has been shit for years.
Yeah.
So,
I would say ever since 13.
yeah, I would say 13 was the like 13 was the point where you realized this franchise was royally fucked. Final Fantasy 13 was like, well, we're done.
Because it was became mainly about the visuals and and trying to recreate Final Fantasy VII over and over again, rather than actually creating a decent, like, ever since those FMVs on the PlayStation, they wanted to kind of recreate that, except in the game. Like, they said something about how the game can just play itself, so people can look at the great visuals.
Yeah. It's not good. But yeah,
Those visuals
And they
is
all
not held up very
anybody
well.
that says that
no.
that the battle system in 13 is the same as 7, I could send the train right up your and you would probably not feel a beeping thing.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say that the problem with Final Fantasy 13 isn't the battle system. The problem with Final Fantasy 13 is that the production values are overblown for what is essentially a very mediocre game.
They had to make 3 games to make ends meet with the engine,
and it still didn't make money. Like they basically like they tried so hard to make Lightning a thing in Japan. They're like, yeah, Lightning's really popular in Japan. Let me tell you something. I have visited Japan. I have friends who live in Japan. Japanese friends who live in Japan, not like expats who live in Japan or people who just, like Westerners who live in Japan. I also have Western friends that live in Japan, but the Japanese friends who live in Japan. And I have like 5 Japanese friends who live in Japan. 3 of them are like hardcore JRPG fans, okay? One's female, the other 2 are dudes, all right? Of the 3, okay? And the female character likes Dragon Quest more than Final Fantasy because she thinks the slimes are cute. She has those slime pillows. She's the one who got me, who ordered those slime pillows for me that were only in Japan and then sent them to me. I wanted them here, but they weren't coming. I was like, well, shit, I'll give you some money and just send them to me. Which she did.
Did your girlfriend steal them?
Well, I have to hide them from her because she'll try and steal them. I had to hide them from my dog because she'll try and steal them because they're cute and squishy.
Yeah.
And the other 2 are Final Fantasy fans, but they're old school Final Fantasy fans. Lightning is not all that popular in Japan, and yet Square Enix tried so hard to make that into a thing, it was embarrassing. This is the thing. It's kind of like when you're a kid in high school or junior high school and someone is trying to make a catchphrase, but they're trying so hard to make it into a catchphrase that it gets ridiculous and pathetic. That's Square Enix with Lightning. Love it or hate it, the most popular character in Final Fantasy is Cloud Strife. Okay? Now, personally, I hate that character. I think he's lame and annoying. But, love it or hate it, that is the most popular Final Fantasy character. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we've gone on far enough with Octopath Traveler. Let's keep it moving. So basically, some more news. Apparently, there's a projected rumor. Now, this is neither confirmed. Someone just put it out there. A friend of the channel says that apparently Namco will be cutting their ties with Bandai in 2023. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Yes, no, maybe so. And if it happened, do you really care?
I was about to say, who's cutting their ties with Bandai?
Bandai is cutting their ties with Namco. Yeah, that's the thing, because I'm thinking they're making a lot of money together because basically Bandai can make video games about the licenses that Namco can make video game licenses, can make video games about the games that Bandai, the IPs Bandai has.
I was a little confused because I was remembering they help with a lot of fighting game series if I thought about it, and they're breaking up.
Yeah, but they also like when Bandai had the One Piece license, like a lot of shitty license grab One Piece games that sold 2-3 million on the same engine they've been using for years for like $49-$39. Namco would make those games, and then like between the two of them, they'd make like millions a yen, billions of revenue generated by these low effort games. So I mean, like Bandai's been making a lot of money with these low effort license titles that are like connected to Bandai. So like I don't get it. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but if anything, I just have to wonder where they're going from here.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, at least somebody could hope that it's better. But for now, I'm just curious of where they go from that point on, because seeing them break up is kind of a weird thing.
I don't even know what to make of it because I don't even know why they merged together in the first place. Was it the same reason Square Enix merged? Was there financial issues and they're trying to save each other? Or...
I mean, how can I put this nicely without being a dick? I mean, like I said, I personally think the reason they merged together is because Namco saw that their traditional revenue stream of making games for the arcade just wasn't really doing it, and they needed another revenue source. And Bandai was like, "Hey, we have all these IP rights to all of these media IPs." And like in Japan, just like everything else, a great way to get money off of a popular IP that kids and young people like is to make a video game about it. So why not? That's a great way to make money. And Namco loves using the same engine over and over and over again. So why the fuck not? I mean, at least that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but you know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get you at least.
Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? People always saying, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying.
For me, it's understandable.
So yeah, as far as Namco Bandai goes, I like at this point I just don't know. Um, excuse me. I just don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. So
I was about to say we we did have some mind, didn't we?
yeah, we had some other stuff to cover, and that is let's see, our next topic. I just thought, how would you guys feel about that? Next topic. The business aspect of Microsoft buying ZeniMax and by extension Bethesda. So we covered the video game, like what this means to gamers, but the business aspect we did not cover, or at least we touched upon it, but didn't go in depth. So this time we're going to go in depth on the business aspect of it, and that is, these gamers who have this false belief that that are believing Phil Spencer. He's like, yeah, we're not. Those, yeah, it's going to be a case by case basis of games that come to Sony, to Sony, to other consoles. I think that there's a high possibility that
those are going to be more exclusive.
the big AAA games that are Bethesda's known for, like their big bread and butter games, like Elder Scrolls titles. I don't think those are going. If they do come to other console to the PS5, it's gonna be. There's probably gonna be like a 2 or 3 year exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
Because it serves no purpose for them to put those games on a Sony platform. And yeah, I know Microsoft wants to make money, but really the reason they bought ZeniMax and all those IPs is because so that they can make xCloud and Xbox Game Pass a more attractive buy. And if you tell someone, oh, you can pay $15 a month and get access to, all these fucking titles on PC or your Xbox Series X, I mean, it's a great value proposition. So, I mean, that's why that's why they bought all these IPs. Personally, just on my own behalf, because I'm a selfish bastard, I would love for now that they're all under one roof. Now that Bethesda is a first-party studio like Obsidian, I would prefer if Obsidian went to Microsoft and said, "Look, could you give us Fallout? Because clearly they don't know what the fuck they're doing with it." I mean, I don't think anyone who saw or played Fallout 76 can say that Bethesda knows what the fuck they're doing with the Fallout franchise. So, but that's my own personal opinion. You guys have any thoughts on it?
I'm seeing it's probably not going to go as smoothly as people think, but it's going to be fun watching how much of a mess that needs to go now Bethesda's in Microsoft's hands.
Well, there should be no excuse for Bethesda's games to be as broken and buggy and glitchy as they are. On the when they only have one platform to develop for, which is PC and the Xbox Series X, which the Series X is essentially a mini gaming PC anyway. It uses the same architecture as a PC. So they only have one platform to develop for, and that's it. So in theory, there should be no reason for the system to be, a broken piece of shit. But that's my own opinion. Any other thoughts you guys have about the Microsoft buyout, the business side of it, about Microsoft buying out ZeniMax?
I'm a wait and see for this one because basically we know that they shouldn't have more complications. I mean, if anything, at least get rid of some buggy games. But I know it's going to be at the expense of something's going to be exclusive. And if they screw up the exclusives, something's going to get the axe.
Yeah, but I'm not really surprised about. I'm not surprised about some games being exclusive because if you're a Nintendo gamer, you know for a fact that there are certain games that are just exclusive to a Nintendo console, and if you want to play those certain games, your ass has to have a Nintendo console to play them, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I already know this experience, but I have to wonder about other people.
You know, and if they don't understand that, well, fuck them. I mean, I'm sorry. So, you have any thoughts on this, Kenoshi?
Um, well, let's just hope Microsoft, makes things better. I mean, I'm sure there are people that are worried because of what happened to Rare after Microsoft bought them, but it's not. I don't think every company they've bought and just completely
Imploded.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that kind of gives me a lot of pause about people like, yeah, Microsoft bought Bethesda. I'm like, yeah, but see how they fucked up Lionhead and Ensemble and and Rare. Rare was the one that hurt my heart. When they
Yeah.
destroyed Rare, that hurt my heart because Rare was one of my favorite developers of all time. Like every time I play, because Rare made some of the best games ever of all time, and not just for the Super Nintendo. I mean, like some of the best games of all time, Rare made, and they went from being a small studio that was like just making games to being a partnership with Nintendo and making some of the best games of all time, to then going to Microsoft, where I mean they made Perfect Dark Zero. A remake of Conker's Bad Fur Day that was censored. Um,
That was more censored than the
N64 version.
64.
Yeah, the N64 version is the most uncensored version of the game. They made Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, which I hate that game. So basically, what I'm saying is this: when Rare basically went to shit under Microsoft, I'm kind of at this point like, I can't trust Microsoft. Like, I still don't trust Microsoft. Um, like right now, Obsidian hasn't really done anything under Microsoft yet. They came out with Grounded, which is an early access game. I'm like, how the fuck is this game in early access? And why didn't you guys just work on the fucking game and just put it out? Like, wait and put it out. Like, you have all these resources. Why wasn't this game put out in a more traditional model? But whatever. Um, so me personally, like, I'm taking a wait and see approach with Microsoft with all these studios. But considering how horribly Bethesda's been run over the last 10 years, um, like, there's nowhere to go but up at this point. Um, in theory. Okay, I'm being very
Facetious.
no, I'm being very conservative with that estimation. It's very there's nowhere for because at this point, okay, look, the last big game that Bethesda came out with was Fallout 76. No, was Bethesda proper was Fallout 76. Fallout 76 was a catastrophe and a disaster. People are like, man, Cyberpunk 2077, that game's just a buggy piece of shit. Fallout 76, it was worse than Cyberpunk 2077. Okay? Worse. All right? People's saves were getting corrupted. They were losing all of their inventory. Okay, it was a worse gameplay experience. So for me personally, when people say, "Well, Cyberpunk, it's a mess," did you play Fallout 76? Because that shit was a mess. All right, but it is what it is. So yeah, hopefully Bethesda will get. They're saying, well, we'll have we'll have the resources to make sure our games aren't in bad shape. We could put our betas on Xbox Game Pass. the fact that they think that the issue with their games is that they don't have, or what they're the public line that they're putting about their game is that, well, the problem with Fallout 76 was that there wasn't a public beta. That's not what was wrong with that game. You know, you know, a public beta wouldn't have fixed the issues wrong with that game. So, anyway, that's my own personal opinion. Anyway, let's keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. I think, oh yeah, Jade Raymond has a new job. She's opened up a studio at Sony. So she left Sony. She left Ubisoft. And having heard the fucked up shit going on at Ubisoft, it's a good thing she got the fuck out of there.
I honestly can't blame her.
Yeah, I can't blame her. Sony. Well, I mean, look, listen. She needs
Sony.
Well, I mean, Jade Raymond is used to having a publisher behind her to give her the funds. She's like a more traditional development model where a publisher gives you the funds for your studio, you make the game, it comes out after 4 or 5 years. That's her model that she's used to. And we've seen from all of these developers who've left like publishers for a long time, like Kojima, Tomonobu Itagaki. Like, it's very hard for someone who's used to that. You know, I have a studio, someone cuts me, so we budget for, you know, this much staff in order to work on a game for this long, and then we put it out there and we make our money back and then profit on top of that. It's very hard, it's very hard for a developer who's used to that model and has been using that model for their games to go to other shit. So for her, she's been searching for publishers to give her the money to do this type of thing. And I think she went to after Ubisoft, she went to EA for a little bit, and then she went to Google, and now she's at Sony. So that's the model that she's used to, and that's what works for her. She needs that security in order to make her team, people know they're getting paid to do their work for 4 or 5 years so that they can come out with a product and make money. The thing is this, every time she's always starting from scratch, so don't expect the game from Jade Raymond at her studio for at least another 4 or 5 years. You probably won't even see the game for at least 3 years, and don't expect that game to come out for another two years after that. So
hopefully Sony doesn't screw her like everybody else seems to have.
Yeah, I mean, she has been kicked in the face multiple times. Apparently, Sony is doubling down on single player gameplay experiences, so maybe this will work out.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I really don't have any interest in owning a PS5, mostly because a lot of the games that Sony keeps on hyping up are movie-like experiences, and I don't want to play a movie for a video game, but a lot of people like games like that, and those games have been selling well on the PlayStation. So, strong narrative-driven games that are basically like adventure games from back in the day, but with better controls. So, I mean, me personally, I don't like that, but, to each his own.
Yeah. There's plenty of places to play multiplayer stuff, and there's also it's like, how many more multiplayer games do we? How many more Battle Royale games do we need?
Yeah, the market's saturated with that shit at this point, in my humble opinion. In my humble opinion, the market is fucking saturated with, Battle Royale multiplayer games.
Battle Royale.
But on the other end of the spectrum, now that, the big thing, remember when the PS4 came out and everyone was like, man, no one wants single player games anymore. Everyone wants multiplayer games. But apparently the games that have sold the most on PlayStation and the Xbox last gen were single player games. So or at least the ones that made the most money for those companies were single player games. So, I mean, personally, I think there's a happy medium. I think you need, in order for a video game console to have a healthy library, you need both single player and multiplayer games. That's kind of like why the N64, while I love that system, is not a great console, because there's a lot of multiplayer games on there, and there's more multiplayer games than there are single player games. Um, like when you have a library that's overtaken by one type of genre compared to everything else, it kind of makes that system not as interesting to me. Like the TurboGrafx-16 has tons of shooters, both vertical and side scrolling, and it's like, is there anything fucking else on this system? There are, but you got to dig, So yeah, that's congratulations to Jade Raymond for finding a new home. Maybe she can get her game out soon enough. Like, here's the thing. This is a lady who created Assassin's Creed. Like, in my opinion, Assassin's Creed, before it got turned into a fucking RPG, like old school style Assassin's Creed, which really she helped create like 3 of the best games in the series. So, like, she has proven that she has what it takes to make some good games.
Yeah, it's sad it's sad to see what they did to her.
Her baby.
Project,
yeah. Because at this point, when you put your blood, sweat, and tears into a creative project, the people who worked on it, that's their baby. And to see what Ubisoft has done to Assassin's Creed is kind of sad. Because I find Assassin's Creed to be boring. To me, Assassin's Creed 3 is one of the most boring games I've ever played. Assassin's Creed, just, the later ones are just boring. But anyway, our last little bit of news before we move on to the main topic is...
Unpopular opinions?
No, our main topic. We haven't touched on the main topic yet. GTA Online news. Apparently, there was a bug in the code, or just shoddily written code, for GTA Online that made the loading time for GTA Online much longer than it needed to be. A player basically fixed it, and Rockstar gave them $10,000 for it. Now, personally, I think that they probably knew there was something fucked up with the code, and I think that rather than go and fix it themselves, they were like, we're making so much money, and even though people are complaining, they're still playing GTA Online, and we're still making money off of the microtransactions, so why the fuck fix it? Why take time to fix our shoddy-ass code? So... But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so too. Because it probably would have been more expensive for them to fix it. $10,000 is obviously a drop in the bucket to them, so...
Yeah.
All about the greed.
It's like, why should we fix our shoddy ass code? Now, personally, I played GTA Online when it first came out, and I was like, this doesn't do anything for me. Like, I maxed out my character at the time. I got an apartment, did a few missions. I don't like this game. I've played a little bit on the role-playing server, which is a little bit more fun, but like, for me personally, I've never wanted to play a game. I don't want to play GTA with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play a game where I'm driving around, going with hookers, shooting up the police, murdering random people, blowing up cars, attacking a military base and stealing a tank. Like, I don't want to play that with other people. Like, I never was like, yeah, man, I want to play this with other people. No, I'm good. I'd rather play it by myself. This is not a group affair. Like, GTA Online was never interesting to me, but I can see why other people find it interesting, especially the role-playing server, where you can basically play a low-powered version of GTA San Andreas, but with other people, so I guess that's cool. But yeah, GTA Online doesn't do shit for me, but I'm glad it got fixed, and I'm glad that the person who put their time and energy to fix it got some money out of it. I think $10,000 is too little, considering that coders get paid triple digits who work at Rockstar.
Yeah.
So, put their asses to work to fix their own broken ass game. But that's still better than Bethesda, which Bethesda has entire modding communities built to fix their games, and and they don't get shit.
No.
So
So seeing somebody fix it and getting paid for it, that's kind of nice. Though makes you wonder, where are your, where's your R&D? Where's your playtesters?
Well, to be fair, GTA Online launched in pretty rough state, and I think a lot of it was just bashed together to get it to run somewhat stably. And I think that was the mindset of that game. I think the code for it is probably a fucking mess. And
I was gonna say 76 very flavored.
no, it's not 76 level, because Rockstar did get it to the point where it is more stable now. 76 is still here's the thing: the underlying issues with Fallout 76, even if you fixed a lot of the technical problems, the underlying thing is that it's a multiplayer Fallout game. Fallout is not a multiplayer franchise, and yet they forced a square peg into a round hole. Okay, and it just doesn't work. But whatever. Um, anyway, on to the main topic. The main topic. Main topic is this: how would you revive an old, unused movie, TV franchise and an old, unused video game franchise? So, who wants to go first? You get two: a movie franchise and a video game franchise. How would you revive both? And they could be connected if you wanted to. I don't care. Who wants to go first?
I'm gonna say this right now. I'll start with one thing that both of them have to have in common. It has to be out of the public eye for at least an Olympic year, which is 4 years, if you're wondering. So, if anything, it shouldn't have too much into it. Then we could start with the individual stuff. Like, if you're bringing up a movie franchise, then you should be trying to figure out what kind of history it has, what was the most popular of the series, if it was part of one, and then try to and then try to work your magic to remake it into something else. And I'm trying to think of which kind of movie I could use for an example here. Oh boy.
Um, Predator. I know Predators came out. That Predator movie. Here, let me look it up. Predator.
Predator doesn't fall into the 4 year time span.
I know, but I think that Predator. I think the franchise. The last movie came out in 2018. I know that's only 3 years, but that last movie was so bad. Come on. Okay, how about Star Trek? Because the last one came out. Star Trek Beyond came out in 2016. So come on. Four
That could work.
years. 4 years, and it has been terrible. Like it's fallen into the ground.
Yeah, yeah, that would work. It's just that if anything, I set the bar to 4 years because some things do not age. Some things could at least age away, so we could restart from the ground up. You understand that, right?
I get it. You know,
That you want people to forget the times, so you can actually make a good, make a new clean start.
I get that. I personally don't like reboots, unless the franchise is so fucked that you just gotta say, well, fuck it. We gotta start from scratch, folks. But
Yeah,
I'm not really into reboots all that much.
that's that's the thing. if you want to restart a series, then you might need some air between the last time and the new and this new project.
All right.
And for me, and personally, I would honestly go with something like, um, yeah, I'm going to be trolling here, Shrek, because try to do a twist on the old fairy tales,
So
and
reboot Shrek.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, try to do try to do some different characters, maybe, and try to at least keep the meme fuel to a minimum, because sometimes meme fuel is dangerous.
I wouldn't be against a reboot of Shrek.
Huh, there we go.
You know, it's been a while.
Games, yeah, it's been a while for Shrek to be on the screen, so why not we try to reboot that to bring bring some variety and maybe some good humor into the world. Hmm.
I would like a reboot of Shrek. You could totally reboot Shrek. Because Shrek was at its best when it was making fun
Of not only of our fairy tales,
of
but
Disney.
also
It was making fun of Disney.
also other companies like Disney, Pixar, who knows?
Well, mostly they were making fun of Disney, like especially the first film where they basically Lord Farquaad, which was a portmanteau of fuckwad. Lord Farquaad was basically like they were making fun of Michael Eisner.
Yeah, and you could pack in how many jokes are in about the large lord himself.
Like
Sorry.
Lord Fuckwad, and how they basically made fun of him being short, which I thought was hilarious. They're like, you know, like it was a joke. There were short jokes, but they were also making fun of his member size. You know,
Size.
like the first Shrek is that movie is really funny, and you can still watch it today. And the jokes, like, because really good animated films for kids also need to not talk down
Need
to
to appeal
kids.
to
Oh
adults
yeah, because the
too.
parents are taking the kids, and the parents need to get a level of humor where they're still engaged. And there's a lot of jokes in Shrek, especially the first one, where it's like, man, I can't believe they said that. Like, you know, like all the
Yeah.
dick jokes are just hilarious. It's like, well, you'll have to. Well, I mean, Lord Farquaad. You know, you'll have to do the measuring
And
yourself
don't
when you
forget
meet
the
him.
theme song.
It's like,
Oh God,
well, there are some
that
who
was just
think
rich.
little of him. It's like, you know, it's just a lot of like really funny shit going on. But anyway, yeah, it was really good. Um,
and and for video games, I'm probably going to be the weird one on this, because I'm looking back at some of the older games that are around, but why not try to remake the Ice Climbers and do some kind of weird tag team mechanic with it?
that'd be cool. That'd be
Yeah,
cool. I'd be down with that.
and as I said, that's the weird. I'm probably doing the weird one in this group right now with that.
No, that'd be cool. I personally wouldn't want that, but I mean, they haven't. Nintendo hasn't done shit with Ice Climbers for years, so why not? Why not? You know,
Yeah,
why not?
yeah, it's well beyond 4 years for
They haven't
a
done
new
shit with
game
Ice
with that.
Climbers with Ice Climbers since the original game came out in the '80s. All right, like, okay, yeah, they've taken the characters and put them in Smash Brothers, but they haven't done shit with Ice Climbers themselves for years. So at this point, like, why not? Why not put the shit someplace else? You know what I'm saying? Um.
Hmm.
Uh. Okay, Kenoshi, your turn. I'll go last because
Uh, I don't watch a ton of movies, so I'll just say my video game, and that's they should reboot Maximo. It seems like they're doing a reboot of Ghosts and Goblins, they should reboot Maxima. Probably make it a roguelike game, since it's
that'd be cool.
already hard as hell. So
that would be cool.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Maybe give a difficulty slider for people who don't want to have control. Throw your controller against the floor level of difficulty.
Yeah. So, and they should. I was giving a movie. They should retcon the entire 7, 8, 9 trilogy of Star Wars, where because this was my problem with the last movie, and this is what I really wish they would have done. That Rey became a Sith Lord, and or she either became a Sith Lord or died, and then that would inspire Ben to rise up, to become a hero, to bring back the Jedi Order, and he would have, that would have made for a better ending to the otherwise terrible trilogy.
Like that otherwise steaming pile of dog shit.
Yeah, that's kind of how they could have fixed it.
In your opinion,
been a great fit,
so effing bleeping true.
How can I put this nicely? I agree that it was terrible. I wouldn't retcon those films. I would have just not made them the way they were. Like, because, I mean, we've seen right now that the best, like, they made 5 Star Wars films and only one was good. And that was Rogue One.
Yeah.
That is a really bad record, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you made 5 films and only one was good. That is embarrassingly bad.
Even I can't even try to say that that's defendable. Like seriously. I could route episodes 7, 8, and 9 to heaven and back, but Rogue One being the only one out of the 2 outer films, yikes.
Well, Rogue One is legitimately good. I'm not gonna lie. It's not perfect, but it is good. Solo had I'm gonna keep it real. Solo had some good ideas. The problem with Solo is that you cannot tell Han Solo's story in a movie. That should have been a TV show. Like, kind of like how Marvel did WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, Solo should have been a TV show, like The Mandalorian. It should not have been because, like, I've read the Young Han Solo trilogy, and you can see where someone who wrote the script for Solo was lifting bits and pieces of the Young Han Solo trilogy from the books from back in the day. And it's like, wow, if you guys had made this into a TV show, it would have been fucking awesome. But the fact that you tried to encapsulate 3 books of shit in one 2+ hour long film, you can't do it. It should have been a TV show. Like, maybe... What?
Like trying to stuff 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say you have to go bigger. It was the equivalent of trying to fit 50 pounds of shit in a 10-pound suitcase. Like, you can't. And I know there's a lot of women who will try. They will call their husband and sit on this suitcase. Look, at a certain point, you got to get a bigger suitcase. So
I gotta admit, you did better than I did. I was actually thinking that it's like the 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag.
No. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you, and we could have an entire podcast about how fucking bad Star Wars is now and how to reboot it. Hell, we might have that episode, considering that March the 4th passed, or sorry, May the 4th. When May the 4th comes. Yeah, we'll save that. We'll say that for the May the 4th podcast in May on the 5th. That'll be a Wednesday, so we can do our May the 4th podcast. But guess it's my turn. Movie. A movie franchise that I think has been um, sorely treated and needs to be brought back, totally could be brought back, is none other than this is under Disney now, so
Oh boy.
yeah, this is under Disney, but this film came out in 2017, so I'm thinking it's under the cusp. Well, actually, no. Actually, you're the one who put yourself under. It has to have the 4 year. This is for me. It has to be something that this definitely needs to. It
That's
could be
the
brought back.
thing. If it's desperately needed, I could at least say that you could put it in 3 to 4 year territory.
So
And I could say that if your thing is from 2017, it has to be something big in order to call for that kind of exception.
here's my idea. Alien Covenant was a steaming pile of dog shit. Prometheus was also a steaming pile of dog shit. So here's my idea. Okay, here's my how can I put this? Here's my idea. Make an Alien movie, right? Like every good franchise that has existed because the core movie that starts the franchise is good, right? Can we agree on that?
Okay.
Like Star Wars, if there was no Empire Strikes Back and there was no Return of the Jedi and no prequel trilogy, the original Star Wars: A New Hope stands on its own, right?
As I said, you guys step on. So go on.
Can we agree on that? The core,
Yeah.
the first movie stands is good. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's good, right?
Yes.
So basically, I would start a new Alien franchise, but instead of like, oh, we're gonna do this whole universe and all these movies, I would get the first movie fucking right. And the way I would do it is, I would look at all the stuff that we've had in the other Alien films. The big thing that no one ever wants to happen in all the other Alien films is this: we cannot allow a xenomorph to get to Earth. We can't. Why? Because it's basically like xenomorphs. In the first Alien, if anyone's ever seen the extended director's cut of the first Alien, basically what the xenomorph was doing to all those people that it kept on attacking is really fucked up. In the first movie, it was taking the people that it was attacking and turning them into
incubators.
Well, into jury-rigged cocoons, into jury-rigged egg pods for, like kind of like what happened to that poor bastard in the opening of the film, who was eating at the chair, John Hurt. Oh no, eating that bad food, So that's what was happening in the film, and then James Cameron got the franchise and he pushed it further with the Alien Queen and like adding a hive structure to the xenomorphs. Okay, so the Queen lays eggs too, and then Alien 3, Ellen Ripley has been impregnated by an egg that has a queen in it. Okay, that's fucked up. All right. So, like, the big thing in all these films, and even Alien Resurrection, is that they can't let an alien get to Earth. So, let's have it happen. Keep your budget under control by having it happen to an arcology in the future, because it's heavily implied that the reason you have colonies and shit is that it's a dystopian cyberpunk future. Where corporations rule everything, all that type of shit. There's corporate marines and shit. The film would take place in one building. You'd have two protagonists. You'd have a scientist who used to work for the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, who's like, look, we had this this protocol that was announced for one of our mining ships, where they were pulled off course. and the ship exploded, and there was this major accident. Everything was covered up, and it involved Ellen Ripley. Then we had another thing where our colony was nuked from space, and it involved Ellen Ripley. And then the scientists, let's make it a female character because people want to have female protagonists in film. And she's like, look, like there's something going on here. Something the milk isn't clean.
There's a pattern here.
Yeah, something the milk isn't clean, and I have the records. Maybe Weyland-Yutani, they can't kill her because she has leverage over them, but they can make sure her career goes nowhere. And so she's in hiding in this arcology, which is a massive, super residential / business area, where it turns out that in the bottom of this, underneath this arcology, like in the depths of it, is a hidden research base for Weyland-Yutani, where they have gotten themselves an egg that unfortunately for Earth had a queen in it. A queen that has escaped and is now, like, underneath this arcology underground. People are missing and no one knows what's going on. Like, slowly but surely this hive has been building underground, taking on Earth. People are being kidnapped and turned into, the aliens' normal thing. They tie people up, put the eggs in front of them, the eggs hatch, the face crawler, all that shit. They get raped. Food. Yeah, they get raped by the face huggers. And that's your first protagonist, is this scientist lady trying to get the truth out there about, look, this shit happened, and not only that, but there's a base on Earth where these things have gotten out of control. You have Weyland-Yutani, the first antagonist, who are basically like sending people down into this underground hive trying to get it under control, but they can't because xenomorphs are the perfect killing machines.
You need a predator in the sense in order to get rid of them in the first place.
Well, this is just an alien film. This is just an alien film. There is no predator at this point yet. But because look, we're trying to make. See, that's the problem. They introduce too many other concepts in these films. You just focus on making a good film first, and then you build on it. And then your secondary protagonist is a android who has gained sentience, who masquerades as a human and is just trying to live his best life as a detective. He goes around finding missing people. One of the people who's been snatched and face raped by a face hugger in the arcology, their parents have money and they're like, look, we're trying to find our daughter. What the fuck happened? You need to go find our kid. And basically this person goes and discovers what the fuck. There's a whole bunch of people missing in this place. And then as they discover, they're like, oh shit, there's something way worse going on down here. But they're a sentient android, because androids in the
steampunk?
In the alien universe aren't supposed to be able to use weapons or attack humans. But this android's gained sentience, so he can do that shit, but he's still got to hide the fact that he's an android. And then, your antagonists are maybe some Weyland-Yutani executive who's trying to cover up the fact that there's a fucking xenomorph infestation on Earth. The one thing that everyone's been trying to prevent in 4 goddamn movies. And then the other antagonist is the queen of this hive that is slowly but surely infesting.
Been growing.
Yeah. And so the film, like, unlike all those other alien films where, humanity is triumphant thanks to Ellen Ripley, this film would not end with a happy ending, because at the end of the film, the information gets out that Weyland-Yutani imported a invasive species onto Earth, a deadly invasive species that parasitizes human beings and practically everything else it can get its hands on, but also maybe have one or both protagonists die at the end, getting the information out, where the information gets out, but setting up a sequel where shit is bad. Earth is infected, people are dying, and this is in the future of the alien universe where there's colonies because Earth is overcrowded. So you have a planet, you have an invasive species that can parasitize humans on the home planet of Earth that is heavily overcrowded. You do the fucking math.
Yeah, that's a DC. that's a Marvel Universe setup for a sequel for sure, because that would mean that there's going to be people walking around, or there's going to be a mass amount of deaths in or citywide
Oh yeah.
or citywide
Oh yeah.
death toll.
If there was a sequel, the sequel would have to be like basically the sequel would be kind of like Aliens, but you would the sequel if there was a sequel, I would call it Aliens Colonial Marines. I know people are going to get mad at that, but the whole point of Alien is that basically corporations have become bigger and more powerful than governments, and so they're basically going around with impunity. But at the end of the first film, where you basically have this information coming out that these big corporations have been using biological weapons, this invasive species that's infested the earth with an invasive species. The government gets off its ass and finally reins in the corporations and reinstates the colonial marines. Because at this point, you had corporate marines, not colonial marines. And the second film would just be all about, like, basically humanity fighting back the xenomorphs on Earth. And it would start out dark. Like, you're going to see cities dying, cities getting taken over by xenomorphs. People trying to, like, corporate marines fighting xenomorphs, blowing them up, and then getting splattered with the acid blood and melting in place in the pools of gore. It's going to be a rated R film. It's going to be fucked up, man. It'd be awesome, though.
All this for a sequel.
Yeah! It's going to start out dark, but by the end of the film, they will have figured out a way to find the hive spawning ground where the queen is with all of her eggs, and basically they nuke it. So they take out one of them, but they find out there's multiple queens and multiple hives, but now they know how to track them and find them and nuke them from space. By the end of the film, look, the end of the film is going to heavily imply they're going to get rid of the infestation on Earth, but they're going to have to nuke the shit out of the planet in order to do it. Look, Earth may not be habitable after they're done taking on the hive. But anyway, that's what I would do.
It's going to be like having to leave home after using a roach spray. Or a few dozen.
Nah, it would be like having to leave home after you having your house heavily fumigated. Heavily fumigated. Like where they put the tent over the house and fumigate it, and you have to be gone for like a week because it's like heavy dose of poison to kill off your infestation. But hey, man, I mean, we've all seen how fucked up the xenomorphs are. I mean, if you got to nuke the planet to get rid of them, so be it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we all know how everyone feels about roaches, right?
Yeah, that's a fumigation. That's a fumigation tent level of destruction.
Yeah. Anyway, my video game, I would make the franchise I would bring back that we haven't seen in a long time is Lufia. And I would just, I would do a Lufia game that's in, like, I would bring it into a modern time where it's more 3D in the, like the 3D dungeons and shit and puzzle solving and stuff. But I would keep the turn-based combat because, why not? And, like, imagine, if you will, the turn-based combat where you meet up with enemies and all that shit. But the dungeons would be, like, the puzzles would be more interactive and shit like that. Anyway, those are my ideas for the final topic. We have just enough time. Yeah, I think we can go a little bit over. Just enough time for our unpopular opinions, and then we can wrap things up. So, who wants to go first with their unpopular opinion and knock it out the park? If you want to.
Boys, you can go first for this one.
The Devil May Cry, made by Ninja Theory, was not a bad game.
I agree. I actually like it. I liked DMC by Ninja Theory. I like that version of Dante better than the old Dante.
Yeah.
You know, and the people, I find the people who are always like, yeah, we want our old Dante. Like, Dante's like Mario or Link or Samus. I'm like, this character is not, like, iconic like that. So why the fuck are you so adamant that the character has to adhere to what you think the character should be? It's annoying. But that's my opinion. Uh, you want to go, Jewel, or shall I go?
I normally let you boys go first before I would, but I think I could go for this one.
Okay.
For me, I'd say no. This is probably the weird one, but no. I see that there's so few games in a sense.
You cut out a little bit. Could you repeat it?
There's so few single-player games out there that feel really unique. I'm actually wondering if they are either being smothered or it's more in the indie pockets than some of the bigger names, because I feel like it feels like only indies and Nintendo care about the single player experience.
Yeah, and I would add the caveat that even some of Nintendo's single player games are getting a little stale. Not everything, but some of them are like, you're coasting a little bit. But I get what you're saying. You know, it seems like indies are the only ones who are really like, let's try something new. Let's do something different. Everyone else is afraid to take chances and do different shit because, you know, reasons.
I was feeling like most of the companies are being multiplayer, while mostly indie developers and Nintendo to a degree are making single player games.
I mean, I think a lot of companies are making single player games. Just everyone keeps on chasing trends and they're afraid to do different shit. You know what I mean? Okay, you look at something like what's it called? The Pokemon Company. They haven't done anything new with Pokemon in years. What? What, Jewel?
But yeah, I said that this is especially true in platformers.
Oh yeah, yeah. No one has really done anything new in platformers in a while. Like it, and I mean nobody. Like literally, no one has done anything new in platformers.
And I know even Nintendo's been in that category.
I'm including Nintendo with that. No one has done anything new in platformers for a while. I know people are like, well, it's a platformer. The last time we had a new and refreshing platformer was Shovel Knight, and Shovel Knight is essentially like a mix-up between Super Mario 3 and DuckTales. So, you know, whatever. I guess it's. Do you have anything else to add, or shall I give my unpopular opinion?
I think I did plenty there.
All right, here's my unpopular opinion. My unpopular opinion is this. I think that, like, a lot of people will tell you that Fallout 3 was good, and, you know, et cetera, and that's why Bethesda did a good job. I disagree. I think Fallout 3 was basic as fuck. Fallout 3 was basically Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, but with guns. and it plays like it. I think that Bethesda, since they've had the Fallout license, has basically run it into the goddamn ground. And I'm glad that ZeniMax was bought by Microsoft, and maybe, just maybe, Obsidian, which has a lot of the core developers of the Fallout franchise, are at Obsidian right now. Just maybe, they can get their baby back and actually make a good Fallout game, because we haven't gotten a good Fallout game under Bethesda at all, in my opinion. Fallout 3 is basic. Fallout 4 is trash. Fallout 76, also trash. I think that Fallout New Vegas is the best game, best 3D Fallout game that's come out in a while. And, I mean, hopefully with Microsoft buying the company, like, the original developers can work on their baby and not have it get bastardized and pimped out by Bethesda anymore. Knock on wood. That's my unpopular opinion. So with that being said, that's in the podcast. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I just bought the first volume of the Berserk manga because I'm intrigued in the Berserk lore.
Good luck with that. It's pretty hardcore. That's all I'm gonna say.
I've seen part of the movie, and
look,
yeah,
the movie doesn't go in depth in the fucked up shit that Guts has to deal with. So all I'm saying is this:
yeah, it doesn't.
Be prepared.
I've already talked to somebody who's heavily into the manga, so
yeah, gird your loins for some of the fucked up shit you're about to see. That's all I'm saying. gird your loins.
I also know why it takes so long for a new volume to come out is because if you see the art, it's super detailed.
Oh yeah,
it must take them a while to do. That's why they animate. There's like no way an anime could ever make the art justice because a company would go bankrupt in matching the detail of the manga.
Yeah, the guy takes, from what I've been able to understand, the guy can take like months to do a new chapter. So that's why it's taking so long. But the artwork is so good that I'm just like, I let that slide. Plus, I mean, you just want to see Guts get strong enough to kill Griffin. It's like, you know what? You have to die. It's almost it's like some Kill Bill level shit where it's like, you know what? You got to die. I'm sorry, you got to go.
Yes, you're dead.
You just got to die. I mean, there's just no. It's like Emperor Palpatine. It's like, Darth Vader got Black history. Like the big thing about what was I saying? The big thing about that character is like you just gotta. It's like Emperor Palpatine. Like Darth Vader got to do all types of shit, but he got a redemption story. But Palpatine, it's like you don't get a redemption story. You have to die. There's one thing that's going to end. You have to die. You cannot be allowed to continue to exist. You must die.
As I've heard the story being described, I like how there's, a reason for, a reason for everything. For example, a lot of characters in anime and video games carry around big swords. It's like, why do they carry around who knows? Don't worry about it. They just carry around a big sword because it looks cool. But there's actually a reason why Guts carries around a giant sword. And, there's also reasons for various other things that happen throughout the lore. And,
well, I mean, that's the thing about Berserk is that everything about Guts within the context of the manga and the anime makes sense for the shit that he's been through. Like, he uses a massive sword because basically, I don't think this is a spoiler. After the shit that he goes through, he's severely impaired, but he needs to end the fights as quickly as humanly possible because he can't do a war of attrition with these motherfuckers. Because even with his insane strength, he's still not like he really can't go 1-to-1 against these monsters. So he's got to like, okay, I got to hit this motherfucker as hard as I can with as much strength as I can to do massive damage as quickly as possible. Because I can't fight, like, I can't trade blow for blow with these motherfuckers. You know? Because if I do, my body will be taken over by the dog demon. And then, I might fuck up the little bit of progress I made with Cheska over here. She actually looked at me today and smiled. Oh, no, the dog demon. Oh, shit. No. Like, it's always one step forward, two steps back with Cheska.
Is that her Japanese name, Cheska?
He has to say the check, and he wants to end the fight before these things get too heavy.
I know they call her Casca in the English.
Cheska, Casca. I mean, look, when I read Berserk, it was with a different translation, so.
Oh, okay.
It was a different name. I can't really, it's one of those things where it's like, it's like in the original manga, Guts wasn't called Guts; he was called Gantz.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of like Final Fantasy V. If you have the fan translation, which I played the fan translation first, like it's a completely different beast than what you see in the, the official translation. So,
When was the race of when was the race of the Garuda? When did they show up in Zelda?
The Garuda? You mean the bird people?
Yeah. No, the
Gerudo.
The Gerudo, yeah. The sand women, the desert women.
They show up in Ocarina of Time.
Okay, because when I first saw the 1997, because I saw the first couple episodes in 1997, I was looking at Casca and I was like, man, she looks kind of like Gerudo.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, they're based on Arabic women. I'm glad that Berserk actually has people of different ethnicities, because you watch most anime and mangas, it's all just like very homogenized. It's like, there's no people of color around here. I mean, goddamn. I like that they have people of different ethnicities in that shit, which is kind of cool.
Well, the tagline to Berserk is Berserk. It only gets worse.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah. Berserk should be called. Everything's fucked up. Everything's fucked up. It's only gonna get worse. And if you get a little bit of happiness, it's only fleeting and a glimpse, and then it's just gonna get worse. Yeah. That's basically what Berserk is. It's like, god damn shit. So yeah, that's my unpopular opinion. Anything you want to pimp out, Jewel?
I'm alright. Thank you, but if anything, I think it's time we could thank the people for watching the BS Busters.
Okay. So everyone who joined us tonight, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. I'm in the process of getting a blog for the channel made, so you guys can go and watch, put your questions down, add questions, all that type of fun shit. So that's gonna be fun. So yeah, rate, comment, share, subscribe, and
hype responsibly, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite, and stay